Hi, I'm Dr. Kurt Woeller. I wanted just to clarify real quickly, I think I misspoke on the previous recording. The name of that journal, which was published in 1957, is the Journal of Nervous and Mental Disease by Dr. Lehman and others. So if you want to reference that, it's the Journal of Nervous and Mental Disease by Dr. Lehman in 1957. And this was the study that was using 3 to 7 milligram dosages of Respen-A in autistic children with many of the improved benefits that I mentioned before, the nonverbal communication, the eye contact, the less self-stimulatory behavior, the improved socialization, etc. Okay? Let me talk a little bit about what Respen-A does and what Respen does. There's an enzyme called monoamine oxidase A. This is an enzyme found within the cells that is important for it helps to metabolize 3 primary neurotransmitters: histamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Now, Respen is a known MAO-A agonist. Now, there's been a lot of people that have, commented that Respen will deplete MAO-A or inhibit MAO-A activity. Respen and Respen is not an MAO-A inhibitor. There are medications that inhibit MAO activity, and they're used many times for depression, but Respen is not one of them. It actually augments the metabolic capacity or the enzyme capacity of MAO-A activity. And in doing so, what it does is it turns specifically serotonin, it turns serotonin over into what's called its active aldehyde form. Okay, so that active aldehyde form, the 5-hydroxyindyl acetaldehyde, can actually then complex with that postsynaptic receptor to have the physiological effect on that postsynaptic neuron. Okay? Now, in doing so, you can lead to a problem of depleting serotonin over time by using either high doses of Respen or even the Respen-A, which is at a very low dose, if protein or if serotonin is not being replenished. So some of the side effects that actually have been observed, and I've seen them in my practice, not common, but I have seen that where kids are not getting enough protein, is they can become more emotional. They can start to have easy meltdowns. They become more attached. They may have difficulty in transitioning. And this usually sometimes manifests as a problem where their serotonin levels are becoming depleted. And what we need to do is either give things like 5-HTP and in some cases give tryptophan to try to bolster the serotonin levels up. And this is very rare. I always caution my parents before implementing this treatment that we need to make sure the child is eating protein and whatnot, eating some meat, in their diet, and that usually is enough. But on a rare occasion, there has been a few kids who are so picky and so limited in their diets that we've had to supplement with 5-HTP or even tryptophan on occasion, just to make sure that their serotonin levels don't become depleted. Now, monoamine oxidase A can be inhibited from a number of things. Okay, we know that through the use of Pitocin as an agent to help with delivery can have an effect on this system. We know that excess estrogen can have an adverse effect on this system. Lipid peroxides and oxidative stress. Certainly heavy metals like mercury and cadmium and arsenic can have a detrimental effect on this system as well. So there's a number of things that we know are common in the autism community that we are commonly treating, heavy metal, for example, or oxidative stress, for example, and there's other factors too. So there's nothing in the traditional biomedical community or treatment or approach that is any different than how we might approach this particular system. It's just another system that's being negatively impacted in autism. Okay. There's also another monoamine oxidase called monoamine oxidase B, and that primarily has an effect on dopamine. And what can happen is if monoamine oxidase B activity is too high, it can tend to have a suppressive effect on monoamine oxidase A. So it's the balance between monoamine oxidase A and monoamine oxidase B that is important. And when we have a deficit in this monoamine oxidase A activity, this is really where something like the Respen-A is very helpful.